Welcome back to the Green Means Go channel. It's your host, me, and we're talking about Harrison Butker, baby, on May 15th. It's the off season. And the truth of the matter is, before tonight, I had no idea what was going on. I try to stay as much as I can off the internet. But my friends sent me a message and said, "Hey, did you hear about this Harrison Butker stuff? What do you think about it?" And I was like, Harrison Butker, like the Chiefs kicker. Like, we're not talking about Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs news in the offseason. We're talking about Harrison Butker. What's going on? And I watched a few clips, and then I said, where's the full speech? I like context. I don't want to cherry pick specific clips and come to this conclusion. Although the clips that I did cherry pick weren't great, all right? And I'm going to tell you right now, the 20 minutes did not help. It actually made it quite a bit worse. And that leads me to this. Is Green Means Go, this channel, is it a political channel? No. But it's a human channel. It's a channel for humanity. And I joke. The point is, I'm not going to sit here and talk politics in this video, but obviously the things he says are somewhat political, and it is related to sports in that it is an athlete who has a very large platform giving his thoughts on the world, which he has every right to do. So I realize that this is not necessarily in my niche. I'm not telling you who I like to hit a home run tonight. I'm talking about Harrison Butker, kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, giving his worldview. And that's okay, because I can, and because this is interesting to me. So he gave a speech at Benedictine College. And I'm just going to warn you, I have this mapped out, but I sometimes ramble. And that's the beauty of the Green Means Go channel, is my rambling. Because you never know. It's like the Michael Scott quote. Sometimes I start a sentence and I have no idea where it's going, and then eventually, it lands somewhere. That's what this is all about. He's speaking at a Catholic college in Kansas, and his commencement speech is 20 minutes, which I don't know if you've ever sat in a graduation as a student or as a audience member. Way too long. 20-minute speech. 5 to 7 is probably the key. 20 minutes, unreal. But let me tell you this. He knew his audience. Before I created content full-time, I was a teacher. I taught for 6 years, and I taught AP language. In that class, a big piece was rhetoric, where you would take somebody's speech, you would analyze the speech, and you would say, what are they trying to say? What's the purpose? How is it going to be received by the audience? What choices did they make for what ultimate goal? And so that's what I tried to do in this video, is I tried to break down Harrison Butker's speech, the way that I would teach my students to kind of talk about these things. Obviously, I didn't write an essay, but that is the point. The one thing I want to say is he knew his audience. And what I would always tell my students is there are two different audiences in speeches. There's the direct audience, the people literally sitting in front of them, hearing it. And then there's the audience, the people who are sitting at home on Twitter, scrolling the next day saying, what, did he just say that? And I think Harrison Butker knew both of those two audiences. He knew how the direct immediate audience was going to respond. They would probably be very welcoming to what he was saying and an agreeance. And he knew that he would probably see some backlash from society. But ultimately, I don't think he cares, because he is unapologetically him and he is not ashamed. But at what cost, I think, is the question. The main points in his speech, or the things at least I'm going to talk about, are his comments on COVID, Catholicism, children, specifically the birth of children, and women, which is probably why you're here. That's probably why, it's literally why you're here. Women, I don't know if you guys know this, women are fantastic, okay? They're the reason why men walk the earth. Just something to think about. The point is, you probably saw his misogynistically laced comments about the women who are graduating, and that probably brought you to this video. But we'll get there. We'll talk about COVID first. He leads with COVID, mainly because he's trying to frame their college experience. And he says that it was less than a typical college experience because of bad policies and leadership, then transitions into blaming Biden for the lockdowns, which I'm genuinely not trying to be funny here, but does he own a calendar? Does he know how the cycle of the Biden wasn't the president when things were getting locked down. Okay, his president with the red hat, okay, matching his Chiefs uniform, was the president. I'm not saying he's a Trump guy, but I'm saying him and Trump probably could sit for a cup of coffee and find out they have a lot in common. Okay? Point is, he blames Biden for lockdowns, which is just factually incorrect. And I'm not saying that Trump was responsible for lockdowns, because Trump probably didn't love the idea, but he was forced into it. Moral of the story is, he blames President Biden for COVID-related things, which was just weird. And he makes this quote: "Bad leaders who don't stay in their lane can have a negative impact on society." And this is something that he will repeat throughout his speech, is people not staying in their lane, which I don't want to bury the lead, right? So I'll just go ahead and say it. You got a pro athlete giving a political speech, sprinkling in comments about staying in your lane. What? You stay in your lane. Stay between the hashes and kick the ball, right? Shut up and dribble. Okay? Like that. I'm being satirical. The point is, I don't believe in shut up and dribble. I'm saying, and actually, while we're talking about it, it's funny that, the shut up and dribble is a comment made when people tend to disagree with the people who would say, here it is. The people who would tell LeBron to shut up and dribble are the same people who would praise Harrison Butker for being so bold in his speech and speaking his truth. Okay, that's the irony here. Shut up and kick, Harrison, is the parallel. The main point of this is we have a pro-life man mad about lockdowns, and this is something that's gone on. I mean, this is not news. This is something that we heard throughout, and I don't want to exaggerate it, but this was transformative for me. Sitting watching religious people being mad about lockdowns is really what made me reflect a lot on religion and say, wait a second. These people are pro-life. These people value health and life and yet we're mad about you guys get it. It's bizarre. Catholicism. He talks about Catholicism quite a bit in this speech, and I don't have the experience or knowledge to speak on this segment. I was not raised Catholic. I dated a girl in high school for 3 years who was Catholic, so I was exposed to Catholicism. Like, I understand that it is a form of Christianity. We all know what Catholicism is. Okay, I don't need to explain that to you. The bottom line is, in his speech, he made mention multiple times that the church has become soft, in so many words. Priests and bishops need to be better. They need to be stronger. They need to stick to the word more. I.e., priests and bishops who permit homosexuality, who don't serve communion during COVID, who are more present on Instagram than in their church, just calling out that sort of behavior. One funny thing is that he compared communion during war to communion during COVID. He was making this analogy that we should not have stopped serving the sacraments, the communion, the body and the blood during COVID, because they didn't stop serving them when the world was in turmoil in World War II. Okay, first of all, logistically, just like common sense, and if you don't know, the Catholic Church drinks from the same cup. This is not like your Methodist church where you're taking a piece of bread and you're dipping it in your own cup, or you're passing it around and you're grabbing. No, we're sipping after each other, right? Okay, and I don't want that to be blasphemous or sacrilegious. I'm not trying to be, but that's how they get down. Okay. If someone is drinking after someone else during World War II, a bomb's not going to just drop on them because of it. Okay, war has nothing to do with spreading germs. Like, those two are not parallel. So to compare them, like, there is a literal risk you run swapping spit with someone during COVID that during war does not exist. So that was just ridiculous. I was utterly confused. Third thing he talks about was children. And this is just something that Catholics hold to be true. And again, this doesn't shock me. What did shock me, though, is he said that IVF and surrogates are sinful. What? I did not know that. And I get now, reflecting, why that would be the case, because you are not taking the purest form of sex, or sex at all, to create a child. You are using methods. You are playing God to it. Um, but it threw me off. I mean, to hear a pro-life person being so critical of IVF. What? Okay, shout out to the IVF babies. I got two. Actually, the person who texted me about this is an IVF baby in a group chat with another IVF baby. How are you going to sit here and say IVF is against God's plan? I don't know. I mean, I get how you're going to say that, because if God wanted you to have kids, he would have given you the ability to have kids, but so you shouldn't go around it. I understand. And then my comment is, wasn't Mary, this woman you worship, a kind of a surrogate? Like, it was her egg, but she was impregnated by the Holy Spirit. Like, isn't that? But like, it was an act of God, I guess. So that's why it's fine. It just feels weird. He also, at a commencement speech, okay, where these people are 18, 19 years old, going to enter the workforce, takes the time to warn them not to play God to having kids. In other words, don't plan for the time and number of kids. Which, again, if that's your flavor, like go at it. Like, if you want to have as many kids as God wants you to have at the time he wants you to have them, no judgment for me. It's your life. But coming from a millionaire, a person who has the means to do this easier than, a person who's married at 20 and decides that they are going to have sex, and if they have a kid, it's God's plan, it's different. I just think there is a little bit of common sense that can also be attributed here that maybe wasn't. It just felt like it didn't land, because it's like, yeah, Harrison, if you have 6 kids, you can provide for them. If I have 6 kids, not a chance. Here we are. And I'm going to take a drink of the water I don't have left. The women part. This is the part you probably saw. He begins by saying, "For the ladies present today, you have been told diabolical lies." And I paraphrase, but he goes on to say that a majority of most of you are excited about being a wife and a mother more than a woman with dreams and goals and career aspirations, and that's a good thing. Which, again, this is not shocking that he is saying this at a Catholic, as a Catholic man at a Catholic school. But it's shocking because it's 2024 and we're still having to, as a society, discuss women in a way that assigns them a position from the mouth of a man. Okay, that's the bottom line. A man is getting up here to all these women who have just worked for 4 years to go on and do what they feel like maybe is their purpose on this earth, or maybe just what they want to do, what brings them joy, what will make them a happy individual for the life they have. And he's saying, well, it would be better if you were just like a mom and a wife, because that's really what matters more than this degree you got. Just not only is it wrong as a comment, it's worse at a commencement speech. He goes on to speak for his wife and say that the best part of her life was when she became a wife and a mother, and she'd tell you that because I brainwashed her. And then he starts crying, which that's fine. Like, he loves his wife. Like, it's very evident that he loves his wife. Okay, I bet he's a good husband, fantastic husband even. Okay, it's very evident that he feels a lot for his wife. He gets choked up. And he explains that his wife converting to Catholicism and becoming her most important title, homemaker, was the best thing that's happened to her. And then, for the first time, and this is like 12 minutes into the speech, the first applause happens, which again tells me he knew, like the people in that crowd, by and large, were not upset. And a lot of the men could be doing the clapping there. I don't know who led the applause. The point is, he made a point to emphasize that his wife, the homemaker, that's her role, and that's how she's happiest. And I just have this side comment. I'd like to see the reactions to this in 80 years. You know, when you see old clips of the white men talking about segregation and talking about minorities, and you're just like, and you see people react to it and cheer for, and you're just like, what? Like how are we so divided in that way, and how is it so accepted? Like, I just feel like in 80 years, people are gonna watch this Harrison Butker thing and be like this man was saying these things about women, the homemaker. Like, women can't think for themselves, they can't achieve, they can't succeed without the guidance, the direction, without men. Like, it just feels like we're gonna see a parallel. And then he finally he ends it up by saying, "My wife loves her life and she wouldn't want it any other way." And I'm not going to speak for them or for anyone, but again, if we apply a little bit of common sense here, a homemaker, okay, a woman who stays at home while her husband works and takes care of the kids. And again, I'm going to make some assumptions and some generalizations, and I will fully agree that maybe this is not the appropriate and correct thing to do, but I'm going to do it anyway. That job is easier when your husband is a millionaire. Okay, the resources, the help, the assistance, the toys, the food, the living arrangements, like everything for a stay-at-home mom becomes a lot easier when your husband makes infinite amounts of money. And I realize he doesn't make infinite amounts of money, but to live as a millionaire, you go without want for the most part. So I just think it's a little bit like not only is it a slap in the face to women, period, but it's almost a slap in the face to women who are happy with their homemaker role, but are also struggling. Like who understand that this is where they want to be, but at the same time they have this push pull. Like, can I stay at home and raise my kids because we don't have the money necessary? I should go back and work, but like there's just this tension economically that didn't quite sit right with me and felt like it was a miss. So again, I don't speak for women either, and if any women want to chime in the comments, please by all means share your opinion on this. I'd be happy to learn how this impacted you from your perspective. Some bonus pieces. I think it's funny that he plays on a Sunday. And the thing is, like, there's a way that he justifies it, I'm sure. And my guess is that it's a form of worship or a platform for him. There's just, like, when I contradict the Bible, I can justify it. When you do it, it's wrong. Kind of a thing. His repeated comments about the cost of living and how you should not base where you live around the cost of living, but around the churches around you, was like, dude, you're a millionaire. Easy for you to say. He talks about men have to set the tone for the culture. Why? I mean, I know why. I know biblically, like, that's what he's basing it on, but like, and then he praises himself at the end for the lack of fluff that he has in his speech and how honest he was, and how, he's not going to get a lot of fans from this, but he at least stayed true to himself. And that's what you guys should do when you leave here. Unless you're a woman, then don't stay true to yourself. Stay true to what I want for you. Funny how that works, right? But hey, at the end of the day, Benedictine College got some free publicity. They probably will see some enrollment increases, maybe some more money funded in from large religious organizations. It's a win for them. So that's it. We'll cut it off before 20 minutes. That's what I got for you. Please drop a comment and go vote or whatever. I don't know. I don't even like voting. I hate voting. I'm probably not going to vote. Okay, bye.